Hey everyone, this is Salam Malhotra, Principal Attorney at Drishi Law, and today we're going to talk about what is the difference between a suggestive and a descriptive trademark. In this blog, I'll discuss the difference between a suggestive and a descriptive trademark. Additionally, I'll touch on the different levels of protection afforded to the marks on the spectrum of distinctiveness. Information provided here should be able to help you better understand what is considered strong branding under US trademark law. The legal protection extended to a trademark depends on the mark's distinctiveness. Fancy word for saying strength. If a consumer can identify the source of a product or service, the mark is distinctive. Some are inherently distinctive, some have acquired distinctiveness. Under US trademark law, the types of trademarks can be outlined in 5 categories, a sliding scale known as the spectrum of distinctiveness. The more distinctive a trademark, the stronger the protection afforded. Therefore, when developing a brand strategy, consulting with an intellectual property attorney is essential to understand a mark's protectability from a legal perspective. The image here represents the spectrum of distinctiveness and lays out where the applied for mark might fall when evaluated by the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Let's start with talking about descriptive trademarks. A descriptive trademark merely describes a product or service instead of being a source indicator. Additionally, a mark describing the characteristic of the product or service is also considered merely descriptive. For a descriptive mark to be registered on the principal register, it must show acquired distinctiveness. Suggestive trademarks, on the other hand, elicit the quality of a product or service the trademark applicant provides. A suggestive mark will not describe the quality, but let the consumer make a mental leap when determining the nature of the trademark owner's product or service. Suggestive marks lie somewhere in the middle of the spectrum of distinctiveness. Although they won't be afforded the highest level of trademark protection, they will receive more protection than a generic or a descriptive mark. The difference between a descriptive and a suggestive trademark is the mental leap required by a suggestive mark for a consumer to determine the actual product or service sold under the applied for trademark. You might ask, are suggestive marks inherently distinctive? Yeah, suggestive marks are considered inherently distinctive. Marks that are not inherently distinctive have to provide proof of acquired distinctiveness. In addition to suggestive marks, other marks that are considered inherently distinctive are arbitrary marks. Arbitrary marks use actual words or symbols, but utilize them in a way that is entirely different conceptually from the ordinary meaning. These marks are considered inherently distinctive and almost always protectable. For example, Apple computers have nothing to do with the ordinary meaning of Apple. Here, there is a conceptual difference in how Apple uses its name in the tech industry from how it is commonly used in the society. Fanciful marks. Fanciful marks are usually composed of original terms, symbols, or imagery. These marks, like suggestive and arbitrary marks, are inherently distinctive. Fanciful and arbitrary marks are generally afforded the broadest level of trademark protection under US trademark law. Alongside arbitrary marks, fanciful marks are considered the most vital marks along the spectrum of distinctiveness. For example, Polaroid is an entirely made-up word that is inherently distinctive and therefore a fanciful trademark. You might ask, are descriptive marks inherently distinctive? And if you said no, you'd be right. Descriptive marks are not considered inherently distinctive. Descriptive and suggestive marks fall on different sides of the spectrum of distinctiveness. Although prolonged use of the mark in the marketplace with the ability to show that the mark has acquired secondary meaning can result in the acquired distinctiveness by the descriptive mark. In addition to the descriptive marks, other marks that are not considered inherently distinctive are generic marks. A generic mark is not protectable as a trademark because it merely identifies the common terminology used for the product or service. For example, no single individual can claim trademark rights in bagels for a bagel shop. Example of suggestive marks would be something like Nike. Nike was a goddess in Greek mythology, that personified victory. A goddess that athletes worship for a long and prosperous career. Do you see how Nike can be a suggestive mark that evokes a quality of success related to athletic products? Tesla was obviously inspired by Nikola Tesla, an inventor and an electronic engineer responsible for the alternating current power system that is now used in homes and buildings. Fun fact, Nikola Tesla was a staunch protector of his intellectual property and was granted over 100 patents for his inventions. Let's talk about the term Microsoft. Microsoft suggests to the consumers that the underlying goods and services under this mark will be small or for small computers. KitchenAid is also a suggestive mark because it evokes the characteristic of the product of being an assistance, an aid in the kitchen. Now let's talk about descriptive marks that have acquired distinctiveness. American Airlines merely describes the product and service that's being offered under the mark. A consumer can quickly determine the source of the mark, but it also has years of market presence to receive acquired distinctiveness. Bank of America, it's a descriptive mark for an obvious fact that it is a bank of America. We know the origin of the goods and services provided under the name Bank of America. We know what products and services they provide within that name alone. Therefore, it's considered a descriptive mark. United Postal Service is merely descriptive of its products and services in two ways. The word mark is merely descriptive of the products and services provided under the mark. Additionally, the mark is geographically descriptive, just like American Airlines, just like Bank of America, because it describes the location of where the products and services originate. Now, you might ask, how can I use this information? Well, this gives you a better understanding on what to discuss with your trademark attorney when developing a brand. To avoid infringing on another's intellectual property, it is also essential to conduct a search and clearance, as it is primarily intended to be used. Past studies and even the USPTO state that hiring a trademark attorney to represent you increases the chances of registration. If you need further assistance in acquiring a trademark registration, please book a free 15-minute consultation by clicking the link provided below or go to www.drashilaw.com. As always, this is Salam Malhotra. Thank you for watching.